It really is good to be back out here, the whole deal. See the fans, see you guys, and obviously, as a coach, it's really for me about that relationship with the players. Just my first, the first 20 minutes for me today on the field were special. Just you're away 10 days, it feels like it's a long time. So just good to be back. Great to be back here at Grand Park. This is a great place for training camp. So excited, just the perfect setting for us. Before I go into questions, I'm going to venture to guess that really nobody cares how I'm feeling, that you have other things on your mind. Nobody's going to ask me how it went for the last 10 days, how you doing. I guess you want to know about the quarterback update. So let me get right into the Carson update, right? Listen, it was a good process. Carson has the injury. We consult with our doctors. Here. Obviously, we got top guys in that field right here in our home base, in our home camp. We consult with the top doctor outside of this camp, right? And then we all circle around, and basically what the determination is that here's what was good about it. It was very clear. I'm talking to Carson early, we're like, hey man, our prayer is just that it's clear, that the decision just becomes clear, and we know what the right thing to do. We get the right advice from the right people, and we did. We got that. Everyone was in agreement that it was very plain to see that Carson had an old foot injury, probably a high school injury that was a broken foot sometime in high school that he did not know was broken. And then what happened the other day was, in the course of practice, over time, whatever the years, something happens, just the right pressure at the right time, the right movement. All of a sudden, that little broken bone that was in there, that was lodged in it, comes loose. That's loose. It causes, as everybody knows, a lot of pain and aggravation. So then the next couple days were discussion over, well, we can leave it in there, and we can leave it in there, try to manage it, see if it holds up during the year, and take our chances there. But we wanted what was the most predictable outcome. And, we wanted the most predictable outcome. Talking to Chris, Chris obviously, like always, brings great leadership in these processes. This is a long-term vision. So, it was like, hey, what's the most predictable outcome? Let's get the piece out of there. Let's get the piece out of there, begin the rehab process, and think the long haul. Now, the good news is, I was going to say, hey, you're going to ask, well, what's the time frame? And the easy answer is there's no. We're not going to put a time frame on it right now. We're just going to see how it goes. But all you got to do is just ask the doctors what the time frame are. So we asked the two best doctors in the world, what's the time frame? And here's the answer. The answer is the time frame is 5 to 12 weeks. That's the time frame for this injury. That's a big range, okay? And there's no way to know where you're going to fall in that continuum until you get into the rehab process. Now, obviously, we're optimistic and hopeful that we can be on the front end, somewhere towards the front end of that. But the reality is you can be anywhere in that spectrum. We have good case studies right here in Indianapolis of guys coming back on the front end of that, on the front end of that time period. So, but at the end of the day, we just have to trust the process, trust the doctors. We feel like we got the best in the world doing it. He'll stay right here to have the procedure done, with Dr. Porter. We were good. You got the two best guys in the world, one in Dr. Anderson, one in Dr. Porter. Ultimately the decision was made just to stay here, just for the ongoing nature and because he's in-house here, and we felt comfortable with both those guys, but that was the decision that was made. So I'll open it up to questions.
Procedure today, tomorrow, do you know when you'll have
The procedure's today at 4 o'clock.
You said you're optimistic. Is that just because you're always optimistic, or do you feel like there's something specific?
Well, yes, a little bit. I'm always optimistic. Thank you for noticing that. But, in talking, just knowing Carson, I'm optimistic. Knowing that this is a type of injury you don't have to be pain-free to play in. And I know Carson's level of toughness. I know he can play with pain. So, you have, with this injury, from listening to the doctors, you have to get to an acceptable level of pain, and then you can start playing. So that could happen early, and if you decide he can play, and then just it keeps getting better as we go, but play for a few weeks with that pain. So, and then best case though is the pain leaves early. So that's the reason for the optimism.
This is a gut punch for Carson. We know how big this was for him, this opportunity. What have your conversations with him been like, and how's he handling it?
Yeah, I think it was a gut punch for him for about 2 hours, and it was like, gee, come on, it's so good, but he's just got a maturity about him, right leadership. Just like, hey, it is what it is. He's been around long enough, played enough football to understand that things happen for a reason. So don't complain about it. Just deal with the circumstances that you have, and trust that it happened for a reason, and just get ready to go as quick as you can go.
Frank Reich, you guys went with the back.
It's the left foot, left metatarsal.
It's not the ostragonum, is it, to find out loud?
Excuse me?
The ostragonum? Tell me it's not that.
Well, no,
Andrew Luck had the ostragonum.
no, it's not. No, it's not that.
So the surgery,
Sorry, I didn't know that one.
surgery will remove that bone.
Yeah, it'll excise. The word I heard a couple of times from the doctors: excise the bone.
Frank, you knew going into the season about the backup quarterback spot. How confident are you guys with Jacob? Clearly, if it's longer than 5 weeks, do you envision that he will be ready to start week 1, Jacob, or do you believe you need to look on the outside?
Yeah, no, we're very confident in the quarterback room that we have. Love Jacob. I think he's making good progress. It's all, these reps are invaluable. So I had a good conversation with Jacob yesterday. Hey man, it's your show. Let's go. And you got it. He has to prepare like he's starting week 1, and we don't know if that'll happen or not. But he's got to get ready, and we're going to trust him in that process, and support him and get behind him and just help him to continue to get better. He's got the right mindset.
How close were you guys to the other option, which would be let him rest, let him rehab, and
Never really got that close to that option.
thought surgery was the best?
Yeah, we just thought we thought surgery was the best right from the start. After that initial discussion with both doctors, it was just because, and the reason, Zach, obviously is if we rehab, it's going to be fine in a couple weeks, but if it creeps up back in the middle of the season, then you're out for 5 to 12 weeks. That's not going to work. Let's use the front end and hope for the best. And we got a good roster. If he has to miss a game or two, we'll be fine.
I realize this is premature, but we just talked about the quarter. Well, we've been watching the quarterbacks over these first few days. Got 2 guys that have never taken a snap. I mean,
It's really exciting, isn't it?
but but how do you sleep at night?
Not only did they not take a snap, but we've had 2 off seasons where you don't even get the chance to work with them in the off season and really develop them. So, in many respects, and then Jacob was here the whole year last year, and Jacoby's really running the backup, running the scout team. But Jacob's working his butt off, after practice, before practice, in individual period, sitting in a meeting room with Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett, learning the highs and lows of the game from them, and taking that all in. But there's no doubt it's a challenge. But I like that for Jacob. I'm excited for that. And I want people to think, hey, he's got a pretty tough road. He does, but we're going to see what he's made of.
Frank, how was it
Some
coaching
guys-
you? I don't say prepare because you can't, but you've got to deal with your situation to start camp. The quarterback, Brian Kelly, Darius Leonard. How do you not let that not paralyze you?
Yeah, no, I mean, good, because we talk about this. We talked about this at the first team meeting. In order to get to the top of the mountain where we want to go, there's certain checkpoints that we're going to have to hit along the road, and handling adversity is one of those checkpoints. So why not handle it early? Because anytime, right, in this league, you hear the word confidence all the time. How is confidence established? Confidence, one way it's established is by handling adversity and overcoming it. So, we have an opportunity to establish some confidence. We face a little adversity early, so let's deal with it, handle it, and then develop some confidence as a team from it.
I don't know if
Frank, you
mentioned
said
it.
that you had some guys who've been through this. Can you provide some examples of guys who've been through this that you know about?
Yeah, no, very appropriate question. I don't want to get into names. I'll tell you this, Bob. There was a story of a basketball player who came back very quickly from this surgery. A basketball player who would be well known in this area who came back from this surgery pretty quickly. And there's other examples of early, but there's examples of late too. Now there's examples that it takes longer. So just want to be real about it, right? That 5 to 12 week spectrum is real. We don't know. We don't know.
Is there a time in the rehab where you'll have a better idea if it'll be more toward 5 or more toward 12?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, what I heard was, in that 2 to 3 to 4 week area, we'll start to get a sense. In the first 2 weeks after the surgery, it's pretty much do nothing, just let it do its deal. And then when we really start into the rehab after 2 weeks, in the next week or two, we should start to gain more of a time frame for a return.
Where's Carson at mentally through this? Because obviously he's dealt with a number of injuries in his career, and then clearly what happened last year in Philly. Just in your conversations, where do you think he's at?
I love where Carson's at with this. I mean, from the outset, it can look like, hey, he's had some adversity, had some bad adversity last year, and then to start off, having to deal with this. You guys know that we're close. Personally, I love this for him. I don't love that he's hurt, but this is just going to be a chance for him to show who he is, to this team, to the world. And, the thing is, though, is really all that matters is that he just takes this day by day and doesn't put the pressure of the outside world. Don't listen to all the noise about, what did the Colts do, and this and these, injury here, and it's going to slow down the whole the whole process of getting everything back. My understanding is from this injury, this isn't the rehab. Like once you start doing the rehab, he'll be able to do some things. He'll be able to throw a little bit. He'll be able to maybe do some walkthroughs earlier than you think, and you guys know how we all feel about walkthrough reps. So there will be times, in that rehab process where he's doing that and he's mentally getting tuned in, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to get better.
How's Quentin? He left today early.
Yeah, he left early. I haven't heard, just heard he, dinged his foot. I think he got stepped on, and so we'll have to see when we get in there.
Is Jacob competing for the starting quarterback job, or with Hundley and whomever else, or?
Yeah, great question. The job is Jacob's right now. I mean, he's got to prove it. He knows that. But he's in the driver's seat. Jacob's in the driver's seat. He's getting the reps with the ones, and I'm believing that that's going to work out the way we want it to work out.
In the preseason, traditionally starters don't play a lot, but Jacob hasn't had a lot of experience. So how will you balance playing him a lot or trying to rest him, make sure you don't have a starter get hurt?
Yeah, great question, Jim, and probably play more than, if it was Carson, he's probably going to play a lot more than Carson would play.
Frank, on the side of your head, it says it takes all of us. How important is that right now, and also your positive message you have on a daily basis as a coach?
Man, it's so important, and it really does take all of us. And when you have a good team, you can listen. You've all seen it. You've watched this sport for a million years. I've been a part of some really great teams who lost great players, and it takes all of us, and you overcome it as a team. And I believe whatever card we're dealt, however it plays out, we'll be just fine.
What was your message to the team after the practice? It seemed like it was.
Yeah, I told him at the beginning, I said, listen, this is going to be a little bit longer than I normally, you guys see me after practice. It's usually not very long. But because it's my first day back, because it's training camp and we're trying to establish some things, it was a positive message, but it was just more about, it wasn't, hey, that was bad. It was, hey, these are the things we're establishing. Just want to reemphasize these points early in camp. And really a big message, Zach, to the whole roster. Like there were some mistakes by the 2s and the 3s, some offsides and some substitution errors, and part of that message was everyone on this roster is important because those 2s and 3s are going to be 1s at times. So that's not acceptable. When we don't look at that and say, well, the 2s jumped offsides, that's okay, they're not the 1. No, that's not the standard. Those guys will be 1s. So just let's pick that up, let's eliminate that, and then just reinforcing a lot of positive things that we saw out there today.
All right. Wait, so how are you?
So how you feeling?
I feel great. I felt great the whole time.
I feel left out.
I appreciate it, Stephen. I felt great the whole time. Got some treadmill work. I went light. I took it easy just in case, but I felt good for 10 days and obviously was excited to get back.
It's actually an important question, though. I mean, you guys are still one of the most least vaccinated teams, and it was very real the first couple of days with you being out. How do you feel about that? I mean, this is a real issue that could impact this team.
It is a real issue, and that's why we're working at it. I think our guys are taking it serious. This isn't. I think we're continuing to make progress. As a club, we're continuing to, to tell the club tell the players what we believe. We believe it's best to get vaccinated. We believe that's the best thing. We understand it's a personal decision, and and so we'll respect that. I told Conte the story the other day. He had a story very similar. I said, when it gets to these very personal decisions, what I think about is when I was growing up, and then when I left the house and was playing college and pro football, and I'd get back together with my dad, and we'd get some heated discussion because we're both very opinionated and stubborn, and we'd get in these discussions somewhere, and it got heated and it got personal, And we'd always stop in the middle of the discussion and say, hey, just remember this, we're family. And at the end, we're gonna hug and we're gonna tell each other we love each other and we're gonna respect what we believe. And that's the way we're dealing with it here. We're gonna tell them with all the passion we have what we believe is the right thing to do, but we're gonna trust every person to make their own individual decision. We're gonna hug and tell each other we love each other, and nothing's coming between us as a team. We're on a mission. We're not gonna let that kind of stuff come between us. We're gonna express our opinion. You make your own decision, and we'll keep moving forward.